So in these readings, there's something very sad and very beautiful. The sad thing is in this first reading. You heard about this guy, Absalom. He's King David's son. But Absalom started a rebellion, and he wanted to kick his father off the throne, and he wanted to conquer and to destroy his father, and so there was a war between the dad and the son. How do you think that made the dad feel? He has to fight a battle against his son. Do you think he loved his son? He loved his son very much. And he told his generals, we have to fight this battle to protect our land, but don't let my son get hurt, because I want to bring him back. I want to help him. He's my son. Yeah, he's fighting against me. He has an army that's trying to destroy me, but I still care about him. Now, one of the mean generals, his name was Joab. He was not very nice. And he saw Absalom get trapped, because Absalom he actually had he had long hair. And so as he was riding, his hair got stuck in the trees. Have you ever had your hair get stuck in thorns and stuff like that, and it kind of pulls? Well, he got it stuck in the tree, so he actually was hanging with his hair in a knot on the tree. And that probably hurt a lot. But then this bad general saw him and said, I know that the King David wants this son to be safe and sound, but I don't like him. And so I'm going to kill him. And so the bad general killed this son that David loved. And so then when there's this victory, because the son that was fighting against the father, when he was destroyed, then his army ran away. And so at first everyone was shouting, victory, victory, victory. And yet what is David doing? He's waiting. He's waiting to make sure his son's going to be okay. And then these runners come back. So they always send runners to be able to let them know what happened in the battle. And the runner comes and says, yes, we defeated them, and your son is destroyed. And he thought that was going to be happy news, because after all, this son was trying to hurt his dad. And yet, what does David do? It says that he's shaken. He runs up to his room to cry. Have you ever been so sad that you run up to your room and you cry? So he ran up to his room. He cried so loud that the whole house could hear. And he just said, my son, I wish that I died instead of you. That's the kind of heart that he had. He was hurting so much that a son, even though the son was fighting against him, even though the son wanted to destroy his father, the father just kept saying, I wish that I died instead of you. And in the midst of that, we're actually given a mysterious image into the way that God looks at us. We're like Absalom. Don't we ever rebel against God? When we sin, we're trying to fight God. And yet, is God wanting to destroy us? He wants to maybe destroy the army that we have, but he wants to keep us safe. And he doesn't want us to get hurt, and that's what sin does to us. It hurts us. And so God said these words, I wish that I had died instead of you. And didn't he do that? King David said, I wish, Absalom, that I died instead of you. That's how much my heart is hurting. What does God the Father do? I wish that I died instead of you. And he does that in Jesus. Jesus came to show us God's heart. That God doesn't want us to be enemies, even if sometimes we punch at him. It's like he has his arms open wide. And even though, have you ever been like really, really mad? I remember this actually happened once when I was a preschool teacher. And I remember this little girl, she was kind of having a really, really bad day. And so she was like going like this. And I remember just giving her a hug in that moment. And even though she was trying to punch and stuff like that, it was like, but I love you. And then she just kind of melted and just started crying and saying, I'm sorry. And that's what God the Father does for us. In Jesus, see how Jesus' hands are open wide? Do you see how he's showing God the Father's heart, saying, I'm not here to fight you. Even if you might be nailing me to the cross. But I'm here to give you a big hug to say, just let go of those sins. Rise up from those sins. And that's actually the image of what's happening in the gospel today. This little girl that Jesus says, little girl, I say to you, arise. He's saying that to each one of us. Don't get stuck in that army of sin, but let it go. And let me hug you. And so he lifts up the girl, gives her a big hug, and then he says that she should be given something to eat, which is really thoughtful. You know, the girl had just gone through all of that stuff. And he says, I bet she's hungry right now. God knows what we need. So even if we come to him and we're punching him like this, he's like, I'm here. I'm going to hug you. And I'm going to get you what you need. What you truly need. Which ultimately is him.